her name or record books were rewritten, she was simply a shadow on an Iowa driveway. Fame was a distant echo. No eyes followed her movements. Come pouring rain or blistering sun, she stayed on the pavement, her rhythm steady and her spirit totally unyielding. Spectators were unnecessary. To her, the game represented a destiny far deeper than a mere playground hobby. It served as her sanctuary and the engine driving her grandest ambitions while empowering her teammates to find greater confidence. Aggression met finesse as Clark navigated the hardwood, shrugging off physical play to launch high-arcing miracles. Even as a child, she carried an eerie composure, a silent declaration that she belonged on the court regardless of the stage. This chronicles the rise of Caitlin Clark, a saga of grit and a stubborn vision that ignited in a modest backyard before exploding into a global revolution for women's hoops. From those lonely dusk sessions practicing her jumper to the nights she shattered records and enchanted an entire nation, her path stands as a monument to what sheer obsession and self-belief can truly build. Brent and his spouse remain fixtures in the front row, though their hearts race during every high-stakes possession. On January 22, 2002, she arrived in Des Moines without any flashing bulbs or headlines to greet her arrival. While Brent and Ann Clark weren't household names, the language of athletics was spoken fluently within their family. Her father had competed for Simpson College, driven by pure adoration for the sport rather than a thirst for glory. Ann acted as the family's bedrock, a constant source of encouragement echoing from the sidelines at every turn. Outside the arena, her parents forged successful and respectable professional paths of their own. Her father navigated the athletic industry, while her mother mastered the intricate world of marketing and brand stories. Athletic prowess came naturally, given her father's history. In the Clark household, competition wasn't just a weekend distraction, it was a way of life. Their television was almost always fixed on a professional basketball game. Backyard duels and dinner table debates over tactics shaped her mind. Caitlin wasn't just observing, she was calculating every single move. As a small child, she memorized every crossover and strategic nuance she witnessed in person or on screen. Around age 5, she gripped her first basketball. From that instant, it was obvious this wasn't just ordinary play for her. The leather felt like an extension of her soul, and she used it for much more than casual recreation. She approached drills with a primal intensity. No one had to push her. She possessed an internal engine fueled by repetition. That specific competition concluded with their squad hoisting the championship trophy. A rival parent once scoffed at a girl invading the boys' bracket, an irony that still brings a smirk today. Memories of her performance in 3rd grade suggest she was already operating on a completely different wavelength. That initial echo of rubber on concrete wasn't a game. It was the birth of an unquenchable inferno inside her soul. Beneath her modest Iowa upbringing pulsed a quiet yet seismic energy. An unshakable desire to transcend the ordinary took root, a fierce hunger to go further and eventually ignite the world of basketball. From 2010 to 2015, she spent her anonymity forging greatness within hollowed-out local gymnasiums. Her face had yet to grace any glossy national magazine covers. Headlines were non-existent, yet a quiet buzz about her genius began spreading through the community. By 6th grade, she wasn't merely competing. She was annihilating, once dropping 60 points in a single outing. 60 points, not a seasonal total, but a single-game massacre that proved she was an absolute statistical outlier. Welcome back to our coverage. If you follow Iowa high school hoops, you surely know the name of that Dowling Catholic superstar guard. She tore through Mason City recently, delivering a 60-point masterclass with a jumper that was incredibly fluid and effortless. Her poise was undeniable, and she possessed a spatial awareness that bordered on the prophetic. She lacked the clumsiness of youth, moving with the assuredness of someone born to rule the hardwood. While her peers were lost in digital worlds or glued to smartphone screens during their free time, Caitlin braved the Iowa elements, frost and rain alike, to practice for hours as the clock ticked away. She recognized that true mastery demands an obsessive devotion to the struggle, outworking every single soul in her path. It seems a prime chance to replicate that signature maneuver in a professional league game was momentarily lost. By junior high, the rumors flew. Scouts were already lining up to see her. Parents huddled together, whispering, "Keep an eye on that kid. She is truly unbelievable." The momentum was building fast. But Caitlin stayed grounded through it all. She never sought the limelight or lost her path. She simply kept grinding, kept improving, and kept smiling. For her, it was never about the fame. It was driven by a deep internal soul and a mission no one understood yet. Nobody could have imagined the inferno she would become. Between 2016 and 2020, Caitlin entered Dowling Catholic High with a quiet swagger and an unquenchable inner heat. She did not arrive just to blend in or be another rookie on the roster. From the opening whistle, it was obvious she was special. She was doing way more than just scoring. She took control of every hardwood floor she touched. Deep three-pointers and cold-blooded shots when the clock was ticking. Defenders threw everything at her, but she was unstoppable. By 11th grade, she averaged over 32 points, playing like a pro. When the stakes were at their peak, she did more than survive. She absolutely flourished. Every time she stepped out there, you felt the air change like a storm was about to break. And usually, that is exactly what happened. Footage of a 7-year-old Caitlin taking on older boys proves she was born to score against anyone, regardless of their size. By the time her final high school year arrived, she was the 4th-ranked player in America, a McDonald's All-American, and had every major university begging for her to join them. But she ignored the easy path to a basketball powerhouse. Instead, she made a move that shocked the entire country. She committed to Iowa, her home. It was the hard road, but it meant everything. She said, "I did not want to join greatness. I wanted to build it." And she did. Caitlin was not just following a dream. She was forging one from scratch, right in her own backyard, in Iowa. In 2020, as the world stopped for the global health crisis, Caitlin was quietly sharpening her skills for something massive. While the stadium stayed dark and schools shut down, she was working relentlessly in a lonely gym at Iowa University. That autumn, she joined the Hawkeyes not as a normal rookie, but as the one destined to save the entire program. When her first season launched, she did not slowly adjust. She exploded like a supernova onto the college stage. She topped the nation in scoring, putting up 26.6 points along with 7.1 assists and 6 boards. Within her first 10 games, she dropped 30-plus points 6 times, showing a scoring talent the world had rarely seen. Her long-range bombs looked effortless, and her passes sliced through opponents as if she could see the future in real time. But this was about more than just the box score. She played with a fearless joy that electrified even the empty arenas. Soon, people were not just watching Iowa for the school. They were there for Caitlin. Every matchup became a spectacle, and her presence made the atmosphere vibrate with pure energy. Even as a freshman, she was not just a player. She was giving the fans a brand new reason to believe. She was not just getting used to the college level, she was proving she was the best in the nation. By the time 2021 to 2022 rolled around, the entire world of basketball had shifted on its axis. She was no longer a surprising rookie. She had become the undisputed face of the entire sport. Wherever she went, a sea of cameras followed her every move. Every jumper and every pass was analyzed under a microscope. Critics questioned if she could handle such a massive spotlight. Could she live up to the massive hype? She never blinked. She did what she always does, played with total ferocity. That year, she averaged 27 points along with 8 assists and 9 rebounds. She was doing so much more than scoring. She was leading the charge, creating magic, and dominating every single aspect of the hardwood. Night after night in sold-out gyms filled with high expectations, she turned that pressure into fuel and owned the stage. But fame brought the doubters. Some claimed she was too flashy or had too much to say on the court. Others doubted her leadership, but Caitlin did not argue with them. She let her game provide the final answer. When she drained threes from the mid-court logo, it was not for show. It was the result of thousands of hours. Her blind passes to teammates were built on a bond forged during their tough loss to Connecticut 161 days earlier. Witness her opening act. Caitlin Clark wasn't fueled by the whispers of doubters. She was driven by her own inner truth. Excellence wasn't a distant fantasy for her. She forged her brilliance in the present moment. Rather than hitting benchmarks, she demolished the very idea of what was possible. As the stakes reached a fever pitch, she ascended higher. For Caitlin never hunted the fame. That blinding light was simply her natural habitat. The 2022-23 campaign served as the definitive crossroads for Caitlin Clark's trajectory. Far from a standard stretch of games, this was the era where she etched her immortal mark upon the hardwood. Right from the jump, her displays on the court were nothing less than pure, unadulterated magic. Lethal assists, long-range bombs, and an icy glare proved she wasn't hunting trophies. She was dead set on reinventing the entire sport. Witnessing her ink a pair of sneakers for a wide-eyed young fan that really strikes a chord, doesn't it? Through a parent's eyes, seeing her elevate her craft during the Final Four madness felt like watching destiny unfold on college ball's grandest stage. She unleashed a masterclass that would be spoken of for generations to come. 41 points, 10 boards, and 12 dimes. This went beyond mere talent. It was a feat never before witnessed in the game. Caitlin stood alone as the sole athlete in college tournament history to hang a 40-point triple-double on the scoreboard. Martin secures the bucket. Remember, it was Poa who previously managed to bait Clark into those critical whistles during the title bout. With her physical presence, Clark shouldered the weight of her Iowa roots, commanding the entire country's gaze and unwavering admiration. After that explosion, Caitlin transcended the collegiate ranks to become a full-blown cultural force. Whenever she launched a shot from center court, the entire world held its collective breath in stunned anticipation. Each dime and intense stare felt like a chapter of a legend being written. Her highlight reels set the internet ablaze, racking up millions of views instantly. Yet her true impact surpassed any stat sheet. She ignited the dreams of an entire youth movement. Little girls in every neighborhood mimicked her signature step back, chanting her name as they shot hoops until the sun went down. Wow, that is incredible. I'll definitely give that a look. Much obliged for the tip. Step right up. Good heavens, look at that. You are wandering straight into an absolute ocean of gold jerseys. Caitlin Clark is currently operating in a stratosphere of her own, and the nation is completely mesmerized. Greetings, Caitlin. How's it going, superstar? Great to see you, Clark. The name Caitlin Clark is expanding. She didn't just earn applause, she instilled a profound sense of faith in the impossible. She emerged as an icon of grit and exuberance, proving that true brilliance blooms when you stay unapologetically true to your soul. Fearless and fierce. As she tore through the history books and crushed the competition, she wasn't just climbing, she was ascending into myth. As the 2023-24 season kicked off, she had morphed from a mere standout into a global icon. She didn't just participate in the sport, she bent it to her will, drawing massive crowds that overflowed every stadium. Seats were snatched up months in advance as the hype reached a boiling point. Broadcast viewership for the Hawkeyes obliterated all benchmarks, with millions tuning in just to catch a glimpse of her hardwood masterpieces. This final run wasn't just about flashy shots, it was her closing act, a last-ditch effort to secure ultimate glory for the state of Iowa. Under that crushing weight, she flourished. On February 15, 2024, inside an electric arena, she seized her moment in time. She drained the bucket that finally eclipsed Kelsey Plum's record, crowning her the most prolific scorer in Division I history. Clark maneuvers, shifting her weight as she hunts for that perfect window to let it fly. The stadium exploded into a thunderous roar that felt like it might never cease. A landmark achievement that caught the world off guard, and this audience, simply breathtaking. Done with that signature flair only she possesses. Yet, the narrative was far from finished. Mere weeks following, she defied logic by overtaking the great Pete Maravich as the overall scoring champion of college hoops history. For over 50 years, that specific milestone was viewed as an untouchable relic of the past. However, through sheer tenacity and raw talent, Caitlin dismantled the old guard and scripted a new reality. Caitlin Clark ascends as the supreme point getter in collegiate annals, moving past the legendary Pistol Pete. The athletic community stood still in reverence. She wasn't simply the best female scorer, she was the undisputed scoring titan of all time. Her journey was paved with poise and genuine warmth. She avoided arrogance, letting her silent resolve and bright spirit speak for her. At the crossroads of destiny, when the glare was blinding, she met the challenge with a steady hand. That gritty kid from the Iowa suburbs, who shot hoops through storms and heat alike, finally revealed her true, singular brilliance to the world. Demonstrating her true uniqueness to the world, she transcended basic scoring to ignite a global movement of millions. That profound impact remains her crowning glory, far outshining every statistical record she ever broke. All eyes converged on April 15, 2024, as the draft arena vibrated with a heavy sense of electric energy. Blinding flashes erupted while a global audience witnessed the dawn of a revolutionary new chapter for the entire sport. Holding the premier selection, the Indiana Fever officially claimed the legendary Caitlin Clark as their franchise savior. Expected by all, the nation's obsession was already a collegiate icon who had completely dismantled and rewritten history. Choosing first in the 2024 draft, Indiana calls the name of Iowa's phenomenal scoring machine, Caitlin Clark. Yet, once the applause faded and the shutters stopped clicking, a harsh and unexpected reality began to emerge. Rather than receiving a festive embrace, Caitlin walked straight into a surprisingly frostbitten and hostile professional atmosphere. The league offered closed doors instead of open arms to the Fever's newest and most high-profile member. Established stars bristled at the overwhelming fanfare, dismissively scoffing at her as merely a product of media hype. Rivals viewed her as a disruptive storm, a dangerous presence threatening to dismantle their long-held internal hierarchy. She didn't just bring elite skills to the floor, she commanded a massive, loyal army of new supporters. Her presence illuminated the game like never before, but that intense glare also created deep and dark tensions. Guidance was replaced by friction and resentment, while genuine praise was swapped for physical aggression and public doubt. This hostility boiled over before her debut whistle blew, yet the rookie remained completely unfazed by the heat. Eschewing all complaints, she focused on the hardwood, preparing to battle within a league offering zero comfort. Determined to cement her greatness and validate the hype, her professional odyssey was only just gaining its momentum. History unfolded in 2024 when Caitlin Clark ascended as the most anticipated top overall selection in years. A transfixed nation anticipated her arrival, yet the subsequent fallout caught every basketball fan completely off guard. Her initiation was brutal. The head office was distant, officials looked away, and veteran players stayed remarkably cold. Cold stares and punishing physical contact became her daily greeting upon entering the professional basketball stage. Right from the jump, opponents targeted her as a primary enemy of the league's established status quo. Guarding her became a physical assault, a relentless gauntlet of shoves and elbows every single game, night after night. Cruelly, this aggression often went unchecked as the referee's whistles remained silent despite the obvious on-court carnage. Zero intervention from above sent a chilling message: she was essentially on her own in this hostile arena. A flashpoint occurred June 18, 2025, as the Fever and Suns rivalry reached a violent, explosive crescendo. The chaos ignited when a defender's hand violently raked across Caitlin's face directly in front of the officiating crew. Despite a flagrant ruling, she remained grounded, clutching her head as the physical toll of the game mounted. Soon after, a seasoned enforcer leveled her with a predatory, blindside hit that left the entire crowd stunned. This wasn't standard basketball, it was a malicious strike that defied every boundary of fair and safe play. A hollow technical foul was the only penalty, allowing the perpetrator to remain unpunished and completely unbothered. Witnessing this blatant abuse, the public's patience snapped. Ignoring such targeted hostility was no longer a possibility. Tolerance evaporated instantly as the internet erupted in a massive, unified wave of defense for the young star. From legends to analysts, one question echoed: why was the league's crown jewel being left entirely defenseless? She represented the league's financial engine, the sole catalyst for record-breaking crowds and truly unprecedented television viewership. Her magnetism converted casual observers into die-hard fans, elevating the women's game to uncharted commercial heights. Why permit this physical harassment? Even high-profile Heisman winners joined the chorus of those demanding immediate change. He argued that mistreating the league's primary attraction was a disastrous way to handle its own cultural savior. It defies logic. I am tuning in, desperately hoping for some level of competitive balance and basic fairness. Otherwise, we might see the backup take over because the primary option is playing for his own ego. Scandalous behavior. Coach Stephanie White disclosed that they had specifically cautioned the officiating crew well in advance. Warnings were delivered during the opening minutes, yet those in power watched the inevitable violence unfold regardless. Intense rivalries are expected, but the coaching staff recognized the brewing storm and flagged it before the tip-off. The writing was clearly on the wall from the very beginning of the match. Mastery is the only option. They must evolve. They must transcend. Amidst the storm, Caitlin remained a statue of composure. Refusing to lash out, she let her performance provide the rebuttal. Sinking deep threes and orchestrating the floor, she steered her squad. Surrender isn't in her vocabulary. She only knows how to strike back. She's mastered the art of turning doubt into dominance. Every shove and every collision served as nothing more than premium fuel for her competitive inferno. Since her professional arrival, the league's very foundation has shifted. Indiana Fever tickets vanished instantly as sellouts became the new baseline. Apparel demand went nuclear. Her number 22 kit became a global phenomenon, shattering every historical benchmark for a newcomer. Across every screen, viewership metrics exploded, luring millions of fresh eyes to witness the magic she brought to the hardwood. She transcended the definition of a mere athlete. She evolved into an icon, not through manufactured hype or boardrooms, but by outworking everyone night after grueling night. Young girls nationwide donned her colors for school. High school rafters were practically papered with her posters. Entire families anchored their weekends to the fever schedule, desperate for a glimpse of her in motion. Yet, despite the seismic success, critics labeled her a product of hype. Voices claimed she still hadn't earned her stripes. Caitlyn skipped the war of words. She simply stayed the course, out-hustling the noise and letting her stats do the shouting. She held a truth they ignored. You don't wait for a green light to claim your greatness. From day one, her internal compass pointed toward impact, founding a legacy that would lift others up. Her tenure in Iowa City taught her that basketball was the ultimate bridge for building a stronger, more connected community. Thus, her vision took form. In 2024, she unveiled the Caitlin Clark Foundation, a deeply personal mission. The objective is fierce and clear: empowering the youth through athletics, scholarship, and wellness initiatives. To her, the game is about something far more significant than personal tallies or championship trophies. It's about intentionality, using her massive reach to spark genuine, lasting change in the real world. Her philanthropic arm has fueled schools across Iowa and beyond, unlocking doors for young dreamers who lacked a way in. Her foundation recently partnered with Scholastic to distribute 22,000 books to students in underfunded districts. She's a constant mentor, urging the next generation to hunt their ambitions with the same ferocity she did. Beyond the court, she champions equity, demanding a level playing field for every boy and girl, everywhere. Her core philosophy is strikingly simple, yet it carries immense weight. True victory isn't measured in points. It's found in the ripples of your contributions to the human experience. Even as her star ascends, she remains rooted, pulling others upward. She's still just at the dawn of her career. Let that reality sink in. Despite being a beginner in the pros, she is already the sun of women's basketball. She dismantled records once thought immortal and completely reimagined how the world perceives the sport today. Yet, this is merely the opening chapter of her story. I take pride in my journey, the integrity I've maintained, and the inspiration I've sparked in others. Her tenure is brief, yet her footprint is tectonic. The discourse has shifted away from just her individual skill. Now, the spotlight burns the league itself. Will they shield their icons? Can they keep pace with their own evolution? Will they embrace the dawn or cling to the dusk? Because she's the new reality, and she's staying put. The observers and the experts all saw the trend. This wasn't about a single collision or one rough night. It was a visible friction, a cold shoulder from the very institution she catapulted into the global mainstream. Recall, she was the top pick, the catalyst who brought millions, especially young women, to the arena doors. Nevertheless, the reception felt like an attempt to dim her light rather than nurture her massive potential. She's earned her seat at the table with blood and sweat. She's elevated the game without begging for a spotlight. The reward? Backlash and blatant disrespect. Yet, like the tide, she only continues to rise higher. That is the essence of her brilliance. She refuses to let the static drown out her true calling. No retaliatory swings, just swishes. No shouting matches, just louder play. Critics called her overrated and too delicate. But with every attempt to bury her, she grows into a giant, reminding everyone why she's the one. She isn't just participating or collecting wins, she's pioneering. True power isn't a popularity contest. It's about impact. She is the earthquake, shifting how we watch, talk about, and inhabit this game. Beyond the hardwood, the true essence of Caitlin Clark's spirit radiates intensely. Driven and modest, she avoids vanity and toxic theatrics. Reaching for flawlessness isn't her mission, she simply seeks to remain genuine. Such raw honesty is a rare find. Well played. Excellent work. Truly impressive. Her soul emerges when discussing her roots, Iowa, or those lonely twilight sessions shooting in her driveway while imagining greatness. Celebrity was never Caitlyn's goal. She craved the intensity of high stakes, buzzer beaters, championship flags, and rewriting history books. Instances that actually carry weight. Currently, she occupies those milestones, inviting the entire planet to experience the thrill alongside her. Move out, solid. Hello, wonderful catching up. Indeed, 12 months have slipped by since then. Totally agree. We have returned, nevertheless. Absolutely. Victory is our only objective. Hawks on count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Thus, what lies ahead? That remains the ultimate mystery. Clark demonstrated her worth through high school mastery and collegiate breakthroughs, now entering the professional league's blinding glare. Can the organization meet this unprecedented challenge? Will the league finally accomplish what was previously considered impossible? Backing its most luminous talent without hesitation? Will it safeguard the athletes who drive ticket sales and engage audiences? Shall equity and dignity triumph over bureaucratic games and outdated patterns? Truly, this transcends a single individual's journey now. The entire framework is under scrutiny. This concerns a societal environment that occasionally cannibalizes its own pioneers. A crossroads exists for management. Expand and transform or remain shackled by antiquity. Global eyes and loyal supporters are observant. Little girls are paying attention. They aren't merely observing Clark's jump shot, they're scrutinizing how the industry handles her. They seek to discover if brilliance receives accolades and compensation or faces hostility and neglect. The signal is unmistakable. Basketball is transitioning, and adaptation isn't a choice anymore, it is a vital requirement. Caitlin transcends the label of an elite athlete. She personifies the impending destiny of women's hoops. Packing skill, fire, and a gargantuan fan base, she is altering the sport's worth and perception. Every gaze fixes upon the league. Shall the association elevate to champion its premier icon, shield its roster, and welcome this modern epoch? Or will it fight progress and gamble away the energy Caitlin ignited? This era involves far more than one person's path. This concerns the fundamental ethos of the game. It is centered on honor, justice, and expansion. The following sequence of women's athletics is being penned this instant. Collective action must determine where this narrative leads.